Okay, hi, I'm Cindy Viner, and I am a certified financial planner. And I'm just going to skip to the second slide because I think it's most important when explaining about my work. Because I don't work alone, I collaborate and work with Shauna Seelig. We are, again, certified financial planners. We are both securities licensed, which means that we can um, offer to purchase for people in their portfolios stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, bonds, whatever it is that you need, we can get that for you. I've been doing this for 18 years. Shauna entered this industry 5 years ago, and last or 2 years ago, this July, we created Viner and Seelig Wealth Management, and that is our focus is on women. And our goal is to create a very empowered group of women every time we meet. So that's just a little blurb about who we are and what we do. I'm going to be sharing with you today a little bit about myself, what is important to me as a woman, and what I try to do to help women feel very welcomed and empowered in a world that is typically male dominated. So I think that when you're working with someone, no matter who it is, whatever the practitioner that it is that you're working with, you're interviewing them, they're interviewing you to see if it's a good fit. It's important that you know who they are. So I just put a few things together here to talk about who I am and what I've done. So this is all a lot, not all of some of the things that I've done in my life for work. You know, 18 years old, I was working at McDonald's, and I always tell people it's one of the best things I ever did. I learned so much about quality control and about being timely and uh, being somebody that people wanted to talk to because it was taught to us very clearly that you are the face of this company, and it is important that if somebody comes and sees you, that they remember you in a good way. I've done all of these things on this list, but then I'm also a mom first. And, you know, when I was writing this up, I just kind of like, well, what's first? Well, mom. And to me, that is my important calling in life. It always was. I knew that's what I was going to do. I'm a Nana. I have one 4-year-old grandson, and he is fantastic. We do hope we have a couple more over the next number of years, but he's wonderful. I also have a partner. He is the best man I have ever known. We've been together for going on 11 years, and he is one of the reasons why I'm able to do what I do because he's so incredibly supportive. I have a dog. We had two. We lost one last fall. It was heartbreaking. And we will probably have more because we just love them. I am a lifelong learner. I have my CFP. I say that again because having my CFP and being an investment advisor has become part of who I am. It's no longer just something I do, it's something I actually identify with. I talk about money a lot, but I talk about so much about how integral it is in our life and how important it is to manage it properly. These are some more things about me that I think are important that people understand and know because I'm pretty good at some things. I want to do other things. I don't really care if I get better at playing guitar. I just like doing it, etc. I am also divorced and I don't have living parents. And I am all of these other things as well. This may give away that I definitely have some attention deficits. However, I am learning through the presentation we had with Amy about hormones, and let me tell you, that was life changing for me. So I am less fidgety all the time, which is so helpful. I sleep so much better. These are some of the things that I like, and these are some of the things I don't like so much. I mean, the list is pretty short, but that's me. So, does anybody need to know this much about me? Probably not. But again, the reason I show it is because when you're building a relationship, and I'm not talking about a retail transactional relationship, I'm talking about working with somebody in whatever you're working with them on who is understanding you and working with you towards goals. and that would be Amy, and that would be Sherry, that would be me. They're not just a transactional person. They're really looking to change your life. And that is why I believe that we are able to build relationships with the women that we meet so much better than I have seen in the past, because we do share a lot. We have interviews with them. They interview us, we interview them. We get to know if we're on the same level. We make sure that there is effective and clear communication. I believe that empathy is there because we have experienced a lot of the same things. And I believe that aligning with that financial advisor, or your naturopathic doctor, or the person that's coaching you on anything, certainly it will foster trust and empathy, empowerment, and it will lead towards a more positive journey. So the reason this matters for women in Canada is because the average age in Canada for women to become widowed is 56, which is a shockingly young age, but that is the average. 70 to 80% of women are going to be looking for a new financial advisor within a year of their spouse passing. Stereotypically, that is because those women didn't have the primary relationship with the financial advisor. So they don't feel a connection with them. And of those 70 to 80%, 75 to 80% of the widows are looking for a female financial advisor. Across Canada, only 18% of financial advisors are female, which is a shocking statistic. And less than 10% of those are certified financial planners. So they're more transactional. They're selling you a stock or they're selling you a mutual fund, but they're not doing full financial planning. And not everybody, I suppose, needs or wants that, but it is important for a lot of people who are, making plans for the future or the plans for the now. Of that 10%, only about 1% will be both securities licensed, like I mentioned before, and be a certified financial planner. So we like to call ourselves the unicorn of the industry, because we have worked really hard to accomplish all of those things. And we feel that when somebody sits in front of us, because we have a fiduciary duty to do what is in their best interest, we are able to bring comfort to women that sit in front of us, that we are only suggesting for them, women and their families, to be clear, something that is in their best interest, because we're not selling a fund, we're not selling a stock. We do manage their investments, but we are trying to find a comprehensive plan that gets them to where they need to be. So that's sort of the background to why we felt it was really important to work with women, to make an avenue for women to build empowerment when it comes to finances. So this is what we do. We work and collaborate with women and their families to help them grow, build, and preserve their wealth. And when I see that, immediately, I hope that when you see that, you can just say, so what? Like, so does everybody else. That's what everybody else advertises. Good for you. This is our so what. So they can wake up every morning with a crystal clear vision of what their financial future looks like. And that is the clarity that we are able to bring to our clients, so that they don't just have an investment fund. They don't just have this financial plan that was done for them 16 years ago. They have a crystal clear vision every morning when they wake up. And when we built this as our mission statement, I don't even know what you call it, but it is, I guess it's our unique value proposition, but it has become part of what I do every day. And when we were able to put what we do into words, it changed everything about how we present ourselves, about the people that are drawn to us. It just made a huge difference for everybody, us and our clients and our prospective clients. So if nothing else, I hope that you can look at this and remember this and think, do I wake up with that crystal clear vision every morning, or am I worried and gray when it comes to making financial decisions? So I wanted to start with what a financial plan isn't. So you may have stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, you may own real estate, you may have a lot of hopes and prayers. None of these things on their own are a financial plan. So just for clarity, if you own an investment portfolio, you have RSPs, you have a pension, those are wonderful things. You own a lot of real estate, great things. Do you have a financial plan to go with them? The financial plan is a living document that outlines your current financial situation. It should include your dreams, those hopes and dreams, well, dreams and goals, but also includes strategies to get there. It should be dynamic. It shouldn't just be something you're given and you look at 6 years later. You should have a relationship with somebody who is managing your investments, who also is able to speak to your phone call when you say, hey, I think I want to put a pool in my backyard. It's going to cost me over $100,000. What does that change? Can I do that? Or should I sit every day and just wish I had it and never ask the question? You should have comfort in asking the question, and they should be able to run your plan quite quickly and let you know what that does. Does it change anything? Maybe it leaves less for your estate. Are you okay with that? And then you move on, knowing that what you've done makes sense. You're going to get a lot of enjoyment and you move forward. Simple as that. Your plan includes investments, insurance, etc., but on their own, they don't make a financial plan. So for clarity as well, Shauna and I build financial plans for our clients and manage their investments. There are people that only do financial plans and you manage your own investments. And then there are people, advisors that just sell stocks, mutual funds, etc., and don't build financial plans and you're on your own. So we build financial plans for people who also trust us with their investment products. So just another fun fact, 80% of men will die married, 80% of women will die single. That speaks to longevity, right? And I don't need to read these all for you because I'm pretty sure you all can do it. All of these fun facts just speak to why it is still important for us to work with women daily to make sure that they feel comfortable, they feel informed, they have understanding about their specific situation, and they know how to talk to other people, because absolutely 100% someone's going to say to them, well, if you did this, then this would happen. And you can go back to, well, no, actually, I already know this statistic, or I already know this part of it. I can give you tons of examples where somebody's brother's uncle's cousin gives them advice on things, not understanding what it is to be a woman, not understanding the statistics around longevity, not understanding that I'm going to need to prepare probably to be on my own at some point in my life, things like that. So statistically, all of these things are true. All the things that I previously said are true. They are factual. It's not someone's opinion. So it's important that we are able to see things that are true and real and make sure that we don't feel alone in situations. So when it comes to financial planning, we believe that having a map, so when you're going to, I don't know, I'm old enough that when I went my first trip to from here to Northern Ontario, we went through the States and I had a paper map and I was the navigator. Even when my children were still in school and I was taking them for March break to Halifax, that was a huge big deal for me to do that on my own. And my oldest daughter, sat in the passenger seat with a paper map. So there were 16 different ways to get where we wanted to go. We found the most direct path, but we did get turned around multiple times. Your financial plan is going to change over time. Your needs will change. The strategies will change. You will be left to make decisions you didn't know that you needed to make. You may have planned to have 3 children and you ended up having 1, or you planned to have 1 and you ended up with 4. Life happens, and all of your needs and strategies will change over time. But at the end of the day, that first part of your life, until you reach the pinnacle of what we like to call in North America retirement, and that age is not definitive. It may be 50 for some people and it may be 86 for somebody else, but during that time, you are accumulating your wealth. You're accumulating savings. And then part of your financial plan is then being able to comfortably take the money out that you've accumulated. We call that distribution, doing it in a tax efficient way and doing it in a way that allows you to live those dreams and those plans that you've been looking at for so long. You need something that does reflect your priorities. So going back to what I said about really understanding your financial advisor, but your financial advisor understanding you and appreciating your priorities. They may not be the same as theirs, but they're important to you and they appreciate that, and that you're able to evolve that plan over time. So the first priority is money management. You need to have a savings and investment strategy. So whether you have a government job and you have a pension, or you're self-employed and you're building your own business and your own retirement planning, you need to have a plan. You need to have an investment strategy. It's going to be different. It's going to be different for you than it is for me. A lot of it has to do with timing. How old are you? How young are you? How much do you have to save? What are your wishes for your future? So once we've established that we know where you're trying to get to, I've had people ask me prior to having the conversations, they're like, do you think I can retire? I have $400,000. I'm like, I don't know. Do you think I can retire? I have $4 million. I have no idea. Do you think I can retire? We need to have a conversation because I don't know how much you spend. I don't know how your money is invested. I also don't know your hopes, your dreams, your goals. For some people, their goal may be to take out an income over the rest of their life, but maybe they have a goal to leave generational wealth. That's being handled a very different way, and that's more complex, and all of these things need to be discussed. But typically, during your working years, you have a retirement, you don't have retirement paycheck, you have a paycheck. You have earned income. You may have a side hustle that's very popular. Maybe you have a job and then you do something else on the side to get paid. But at the end of the day, what you do with that money is going to build you investment income, which includes non-registered income. So money that maybe you got from selling a home, or you got it from selling an investment property, or you inherited it, or you sold your business. And then you have a tax-free savings account, which is also included in investment income. That is probably one of the best gifts, along with the first home savings account, which is very recent, that the government's ever given us when it comes to being able to save tax efficiently for retirement. People who have RSPs, those are going to be part of your income in retirement. QPP, CPP, OAS. If you have a corporation, being able to maximize the flow from that and minimize taxes. And annuity payments would fall under, well, obviously, if you bought an annuity, but pension incomes, right? Those are guaranteed incomes that you're getting every month, perhaps from your government job or your work job. So you need to know what in this circle you're going to have, and then how you're going to be able to use that to support the lifestyle that you're looking for. And then there's a part about protection and being able to protect everything that you have worked for. So when you have property, so homes, businesses, your car, insurance being in place is so important. In fact, probably required, so that if your home were to catastrophically be destroyed, that then you could rebuild without having to dig into your savings, right? Because you paid the insurance all along. There's also insurance that covers lifestyle. So life insurance to replace income if a person in a relationship passes away and their income no longer exists. This could cover that. That's often needed earlier in your life until you get to a point that perhaps you don't need it anymore because you're just self-insured. And those are conversations we have with people as they grow wealth, as they become older. Disability, critical illness, long-term care, all of these insurances are things that we do talk to people about because we are insurance licensed as well. And it's important for people to understand you can have someone come to your house to sell you a product, but if they don't understand your full financial plan, they are simply selling you a product. So it is very important that you have someone that sees the whole picture of what you own, what you have, what you owe, where you want to be. So very quick example, I have critical illness insurance. My mom died at 61. I'm 56. I got it 10 years ago because I saw what she went through with her illness. I saw the cost. I saw her being unable to perhaps go somewhere else to get treatment, unable to pay for care in home. And all of those things, some of those things can be covered through a critical illness policy. So it was important for me to know that I could protect my health and my income and my savings by putting a critical illness policy in place. So that's just one example. And I share many examples with people of what makes sense. And I only put things in place when it makes sense in the financial plan. So when it comes to insurance, obviously, sort of like what I just said, reducing risk matters at every stage of life. So early in life, you are protecting your capital, you're protecting your human capital, your ability to save, earn, and earn money. And later in life, you're trying to protect your assets. You're trying to not have to dip into the money that you had planned to use to fund your retirement. You don't want to have to dip into that to pay for healthcare or long-term care if you don't have to. The other thing in the base of your planning is that you do need a will. You need to make sure you choose somebody who can handle your estate. It doesn't have to be your sister or your brother or even your spouse. If you've ever lost somebody that you love, it is not an easy thing to do. It's exhausting to have to manage the estate. And some people will choose to have somebody outside of their family be the executor. Some people will choose a corporate executor, which just means you're hiring a company. So we partner with a company called Clear Estate. And there's an option there to have somebody be the executor for you when something happens. You want to talk with your whoever is doing your will for you, whether that be a lawyer or a company like Clear Estate, about fair distribution, what the optimal outcome would be. So if you have a beneficiary who has special needs, perhaps you have a child or a loved one that has special needs and you want to make sure they're looked after. Children who are minors, you need to make sure you put guardians in place that are able and willing to look after your children. It's easy to say I will, but it's a big thing to take on. And that's when having that insurance in place makes sense because it costs money to raise somebody else's children. And you want to make sure that they're aware when they take this on that it's not going to be a financial burden to them. And then you want to and I'm going to be honest, I can't see this last slide because of my gallery, but I just moved it. So there we go, technical issue. But here we are building your base. So you're going to know your goals. You're going to establish an investment plan for major expenditures, run those by the person that you trust with your money to make sure it's not going to set you back, that it's actually going to be something you can do and enjoy, prepare for the future. You're going to establish your estate, and you're going to revisit all of this in your financial plan as you go on through life. It is not a one and done exercise. So then you're going to focus on growth. And I'm just going to, okay. We're going to focus on growth. So we've talked about all of the base of that financial plan and how important that is in building. We're going to talk about your investment portfolio and optimizing that so that you meet your goals. We cannot go back in time, but we can start from where we are. And your financial advisor should be meeting you where you are. There are examples of what happens with money over time. So although I don't think anybody in this group is 22, I still think it's an important picture to look at. That if you have a 15-year period where you've invested $45,000 and then you don't invest anything ever again at the age of 65, based on a 5.5% rate of return, that's going to look like around $335,000. So if you have somebody in your life who is younger, that you're trying to get them to understand the value of time and money, this is a great picture to show them. If you're waiting till you're 41 and you invest the same amount of money for 25 years, so 3,000 a year for 25 years, at 65, you have about 161,000. And if you started at 41 for 25 years and invested 6,200 a year at the same rate of return at 65, you would almost have reached that 335. So is it realistic to think that someone 22 is going to have 45,000 saved and never touch it by 36? I don't know. I think it's just a great lesson around the value of time and money. I have a daughter who's 27, yes. And she's a planner. She's had a plan since the time she's 15 years old. She started saving every cent she made during the summers, working at day camps. She scholarshiped her entire way through university and grad school, and she saved money. Now, she didn't make big money, but any money she made in the summers, she bought all the clothes she wanted. She did what she wanted. She lived, but she saved because her goal was to have a house by the time she was 25. Well, she's not in the house. She's living in her with her boyfriend in his father's basement right now because life happened. The interest rates went up. COVID happened. Cost of a house went up. But her money is growing, right? So she has around $150,000 invested at 27. It's not going to stay invested forever. Probably half of it will. The rest will go towards a house when the time is right, when the house comes along that's right for her. But she understands she's going to have, if she continues to be a teacher, she'll have a teacher's pension. I have showed her what her money will look like by the time she's retired as a teacher if she continues to just invest $500 a month, no matter what, $500 a month. And she'll have an extra million sitting on the side so that because she's like, teachers say they're poor. And I'm like, they're not poor. They just didn't realize how much more money they would need. So it's a matter of really putting it in front of maybe younger people and saying, this is how your money can grow, and this is how it will help you in time. And I'm going to tell you, seeing the numbers, even just seeing a graph, makes such a big difference to younger people who maybe aren't inclined to think about numbers, because not one of my kids is. So that just speaks to this: time in the market beats timing in the market, trying to get in and out. I don't know if any of you have felt like if you have an investment portfolio right now, or if you perhaps you owned real estate, and when COVID happened and everything changed, jumping in and out at those very volatile times is not necessarily always the best thing. So really important to stick with a plan and have somebody that you can trust who will help you with that plan. This really speaks to volatility, and I know we're getting into numbers, and I know that sometimes can cause people to just tune out, but it's not going to be long, I promise. But if you look at the stock market, this is a picture of the S&P 500. Annualized rate of return since 1956 till 2022 has been about 8.9%. 26 times in the past 66 years, the market's dropped by more than 10%. 8 times in the last 22 years. But if you had put $10,000 in 1956 or over a 40-year span, that 10,000 at an 8.9% rate of return would have turned into 3 million. And again, I think it's important when talking to folks, when talking to younger folks, when talking to your children or your grandchildren or another woman, that they are able to understand the time and value of investing and how it will work for you. It's also important when you're building your portfolio to have diversification. This is an example of a diversified portfolio with investment portfolio with all sorts of different types of investments in it. The same can be said, though, is that all your investments are in your business, or all of your investments are in, brick and mortar real estate. If all of your investments are in one spot, you do need to visit that with the financial planner to make sure that they are going to serve you when you need the actual cash flow from them. Is your business going to be sellable? Are you going to be able to get out of it what you are looking for? Having a diversified portfolio, whether it be in the stock market or otherwise, is just so important to being able to mitigate risk so that you're not having to worry all the time about what is going on in the markets or the world. So during this time of accumulation, and we talked about how that is where you're saving and investing as you're working during your working years, time works for you, right? You're able to grow your money over time. Volatility also works for you because you get the lows, but you get those highs. And if you're buying all the time, perhaps in the stock market, I always tell people, they're like, the market's low. What should I do? I'd be like, buy. That's what I do. I just keep buying because you want growth. But in distribution stage, or when you're taking the income, time might work against you, and volatility works against you if you don't have a really solid plan for distribution in place. And we're going to talk about that, and for example, in minimizing your tax burden. So when you are building a financial plan and you are looking at your future goals, looking at a plan that minimizes your taxes in retirement specifically is so important. And back in the day, so I have a lot of people that are like, why can't we just buy GICs? I just want to buy GICs. I want to be safe. I suppose you could, but this isn't 1980 something anymore. And we're not getting 12, 15, 18% on GICs and bonds. So it's super important that people understand that when you are getting interest, like you would get on GICs and bonds, you're being taxed on 54% of that. Same as with foreign dividends, 54%. Eligible dividends, so that would be dividends from public companies or eligible companies, your tax burden goes down to 39%. Capital gains, like maybe you get on real estate, or you might get that in your stock portfolio, your investment portfolio, lower rate. And over here is the return of capital, which is tax-free for quite a long time. And that's a whole other lesson in itself that I won't go into. But if you have sold a business or sold property or inherited money and you don't have anywhere to put it but in an investment account, you want to make sure you are as tax efficient as possible with that, so that when you take the income out, you're not paying a huge amount of tax unnecessarily. And return of capital is a way of doing that. And it's something I use all the time when people do have excess amounts of investment savings. So that is the part that we just finished. We're talking about aiming for time in the market, adjusting your risk, diversity, having a tax strategy. We want to tax strategy for your estate, and then a tax strategy for your business. So how are we going to invest that money? How are we going to get the income out in the most tax efficient type of way? And once we've done all that, we've built the base, we've maximized and optimized our investment portfolios, we look at how can we live life the way we want to? How do we plan for that? So if we look at men and women in Canada that are 60 years old currently, 50% of those will live to, if you're female, beyond 86, and 50% will live beyond 83 if they're male. So there's a good chance if you're 60 now, you're probably going to live a long life. I mean, there's a 50% chance. That's pretty good odds. So because of that, we do need to plan for it. And it's a good time to sit and think how confident you are in your financial plan. And if you just take a moment and think like, okay, all these things that we've covered, we've talked about, who I am, what I have, how I can optimize it, how I can protect it. Think in your head a number between 1 and 10 and think, where am I? And how can I improve that? And if you're at a 10, I definitely want to talk to you to see what I can learn, because I think it's fantastic. A lot of people, though, because they don't feel confident, because they don't have the relationship that they should have with their advisor, they often underlive because they worry about running out of money. They can't imagine that they can make their funds stretch They don't make decisions on the fly because they haven't had a really good solid understanding of how to enjoy their retirement money, how to make that money last. And these are questions they don't have anybody to ask because they haven't built the relationship. So one of the things when it comes to living your best retirement life is your withdrawal rate. And this is a busy slide, but an example of having a 500,000 portfolio. This goes back to 1970 because we can't show you forward thinking market returns, obviously. So we have to go back. So over a 40-year period, 45-year period. So if you had 500,000 in 1970 and you started withdrawing 8%, your money would be gone in 20 years. If you started doing 6%, just a 2% difference, your money lasted an additional 40 years. And if you only took 4%, your money would have grown to more than 3 million based on a variety of different ways of being invested, but and with fees also included. And this also includes inflation of 2%. So just a picture of how a slight difference in how you withdraw your money makes a big difference, and making sure that you have someone that you trust that you can talk to about what makes sense for you and your specific situation. Your estate planning, deciding where your money will go. We talked about having a will. This is why when you pass away someday, and as far as I'm aware, we don't have an alternative, at some point it happens, you want to make sure that everything that you've built over time, whether you live a long life or a shorter life, that you have an estate plan within that will that covers all of the things that you want to look after. So a spouse, charities, etc. I work with a local charity, and helping people realize the importance of giving back to their community and their estate planning has just been wonderful. And it gives them a real feel good as well. So living life your way, being able to enjoy your time as we age, being able to share your money with who you want to share it with, making those decisions are all part and parcel of having a really strong financial plan. Shauna and I work with people to really help them with that confidence. Like I said, our clients, if we've done everything right, will wake up in the morning and they'll have a crystal clear vision of what their financial future looks like. Their estate is looked after, their investments are looked after, etc. So when we talk to people, we do a discovery meeting, we clarify, we talk about what their values are, what their concerns are. And then we explore that. We look at minimizing taxes over time, mitigating risks. We then present a plan to them. We will have already moved their investments with us. We don't make any changes if possible until we finalize and implement the plan. And then any financial strategy that needs to be put in place outside of what a person already has will then be put into place. And then we support and respond over time when things change. Like I say, you want to go on the big trip, or you want to do something else, or someone gets sick. How do we help you look after that and keep things very clear? So it is our job, and it is our responsibility, and it is part of what we love, is being involved in people's lives. And it's not all good times. Sometimes it's rough times that we're helping people get through. Specifically, we work with a lot of widows, and it's been helping them through that time has been one of the most rewarding parts of my career. So I've talked so much about a financial plan, and I just wanted to give you a little picture of what we do looks like. And this is sort of this is a very good idea of what your financial plan should look like. When our clients go in to look at their financial plan, they can look at it with me, but on their online portal, they also can see their financial plan, which is really nice. And later this year, our clients will be able to go in and kind of like play with it a little bit, do scenarios. What if I do this? What if I do that? This speaks to, what if this is part of the plan. So we'll say to people, depending on their situation, so this is what you've told me that you want. This takes us to zero at age, 90. What if the market, drops? What if you live to be 95? What's the plan then? So really making it very clear to our clients, we need to have room, we need to have a cushion, and this is why. And sometimes they're perfectly fine, and sometimes we have to make adjustments. We look at the retirement paycheck, just like we had at the beginning there. We actually put this out for people. This is just like a bar graph, but I like we actually have, it looks like an Excel spreadsheet, but shows every year, take $2,640 from your tax-free savings, take this much from your RIF, take this much, you'll get this much in income from the government. And this is the most tax efficient way to take out your money as you move forward. Every year it's laid out. Whether you want to do that or not is up to you, but I'm always going to let you know what the most tax efficient way of doing it is. We also look for any shortfalls, and then we try to implement strategies to prevent the shortfalls. All of that to say, I'm aware, and I'm sure you're aware, that your life is unique to you. What you do with your life is also unique to you. And when you partner with someone on your finances, and then by partnering, I mean with your spouse, with your family, with a financial advisor, whoever you decide to partner with, make sure they understand that you are unique, that you are somebody who has dreams and goals that they want to accomplish, and they want somebody that understands that. And if you're not getting that, move on. Find somebody who gets you, because that is so important. I know myself, when I'm looking for someone to be a provider for me, I'm rarely satisfied until I meet with somebody who gets me. And that's what we try to do. We will get to questions in a moment, but I just wanted to leave this here for you. If you ever do want to get in touch with us, if you're looking for someone that makes sense for you, this is all of our contact information. So our website is Viner and Selig, VINERANDSELIG.ca. My email is there as well, cindy.viner@ig.ca. That is my direct phone number. I only use my direct phone number. I don't want anybody having to go through any kind of, press 1, press 2. It comes right to me. We have an Instagram and we're on LinkedIn. So thank you so much for listening. And now we'll have questions.